1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. For every breath that we take, Ruish Kadesh, Ruach being feminine, the breath of life, signifies a governing, creating force polarity that manifests matter and spirit. It's 0 and 1. A binary code is zeros and ones. To bring forth physicality, we need zeros and ones. In order for the movements in my body to take place, it is happening via zeros and ones. We've said zeros and ones before. We know, think of that this is what happens. Yeah. Which is sex. On the inhale, we have inhalation, which is tensioning, inspiration, respiration, yeah, which is active. Upon the exhale, we have passivity. This is passive now, because we have an expansion, an expansion, yeah. On the expansion, this is where the interaction takes place between mother and child, because it is upon the exhalation that life is brought forth. Paradox. The exhalation is also known as the death breath. It is the death breath because it is the breath that comes outwards when the body is excreting something. This is an outward breath. So when the body is passing wind, yeah, or when somebody's being sick, or when you are sneezing outwards because you have a toxin within you that needs to come out, then the body will force it to come out through a sneeze or a cough. Yeah, and that is the death breath. But the paradox is that the child, the mother and child, when the soul is coming through, is in command of 3 of the elements. The 4th one, air, is set to take place. When the mother breathes the death breath outwards on the exhalation is when the child arrives into physicality, into matter. There is an interchange between the two. As the mother exhales on the death breath to bring forth life, the child, the soul incoming, becomes a diamond, becomes a 4 at that point, because it is through the diaphragm here, which is where the soul resides, here and upwards, right? And what happens is a vacuum, like a vacuum pull inwards, all of it in the diaphragm. Yeah, this is why we do this. This is what happens even still now. We're able to the soul comes from that point. From that point there, this is where we are able to release all of the dead weight of matter from that solar plexus, which is the middle point of the being. The child breathes in through that diaphragm, and it then releases a massive scream, potentially, and that is the death breath. And then that air of that, as the Christic air that we call air, we call it air. That is just a definition. These are a definition of superior forces that are not totally visible to us, to ourselves. But in actual fact, as we will go on to see, that air contains a supreme dielectric force. Right. Upon breathing in from the diaphragm, it is then a massive release, and that is what we have here. So then, this then gives us what we can see as a figure of 8. In actual fact, this is a double cross. So, in each and every breath that we take, it's a supreme divine action that is also set to take place. As I began this video, that in order for 0 to manifest, there are 2 points that come together. 2 opposing forces of equal strength that then collide against one another. Yeah. In order, as this continues to take place, this is actually what happens with the 4. In actual fact, yeah, it's a continuing force, right? A continuing force, yeah. And as that continuing force continues to meet itself, yeah, it becomes centrifugal, and what could have been square now becomes round. So as these two meet here, yeah, they then split off. As those 2 forces split off, they then start to curl, yeah. They then start to curl, and then they create a circle of infinity, which is this black circle, which is of no thing, which is why 0 is 0, but 0 is no thing, but no thing is not nothing, yeah. No thing is the entirety of everything, yeah. The magic has been deliberately kept and restricted in order to bring about a mundane game that we can play, yeah, which we have played now. And that mundane game is now coming towards its close as we head towards new heights and new planes. So, from that nothing, then manifests the 1. That 1 that manifests, yeah, brings forth, is a fire force and a supreme energy that is going to bring forth life, which is all coming from and stemming from the 1. Yeah? Because all is stemming from 1. That 1 is spirit. Spirit, using Pythagorean numerology, equates to 1. The numerology that I use is such. And that will give us 1. Yeah? And it will also give us 1, and 1 will also give us an upright erect, and this will then give us a penis and a phallic, and this will give us a masculine 1. Yeah. What following the 1, we will then move on to the 2. Now, in order to get the 2, a 2 becomes as it is, like this. So we have an up motion and then a down motion, and that gives us our 2 hemisphere, and that creates and gives us sexation. As one life is dwindling, another life is blooming. And these are the 2 hemispheres. These are the summer and winter that we experience here. You know, we have the northern and the northern and the southern. Yeah, this is the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, right? So these are the solstices and the equinoxes. But in one hemisphere, how it works, yeah, when we reach a dead season, when the life is blooming in the other half, yeah, as the sun is coming through, heat is coming through. As heat comes through, sexation starts to take place. As sexation starts to take place, then new life begins to breed and life begins to blossom, and we have fertility. So this is what the number 2 is doing, and that's why you have a 2 which will come up like this, and then it will come down. Yeah. So we go up life and then down life, and this is giving us a 2. If we put 2 swans together, a swan is a 2. A swan is a 2, but a swan will never leave its partner. It never likes to. This can happen, but it's rare. They never like to mate elsewhere. In actual fact, one of the reasons that they do that is because the male swans, they don't want to catch an STD. Yeah. So things work much deeper in nature than we first presumed them to be. Yeah. We are far closer to the animal kingdom and the mineral kingdom than we think we are. Then the only reason that the distance is in place is due to the artificial setting that we've been currently participating within. Yeah, that we were born into. Right. Then we have the 3. Now, the 1 and the 3 are connected. In order to have a 3, a number 3, you need to have a 3. So you see, if you take the 3, you'll have 3. And in the centre of the 3, you'll have a higher and a lower, and a neutral, and a neuter point. And this is what you'll have here as a 3. If I was to put a 3 here, you see this QV here, I have a QV, this queen here. And if I was to put a marker from the queen, if I was to take another, as we were saying earlier, this centrifugal centering force, yeah, this is what we're getting here. This would go from queen to centre, and then back out from queen to centre down to king. That would give us a 3, a triune 3, yeah. So that is then the third, which is the 3, yeah. Now, and that is coming from Father, yeah, to Son, yeah, right. And that is how you see when we look at Christ and you look at Jesus. This is what I said. Yeah, the way through to the Father is through me. Yeah. So then we have the 3, and then we have the 4. The reason I was doing the 4 earlier, because if you take, what happens is if you can take a cube like this here, right? You can get a cube like this, right? Yeah. And then what happens is you can take a cube and you can change the shape of it, right? And then it will then give you like this. It will give you a womb, a vagina, yeah. And that will give us the 4th. The 4th is going to give us the 4 elements. Those 4 elements are set to war against each other, yeah. These are dead elements, and they're the 4 elements of matter, her matter, yeah. So she is the 4. The number 4, yeah. If I take the 4, I've done a lot on the 4. You will see that the 4 doesn't have the curves, and the 4 will also have 4 points as well. It will have the 4 points here, yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, yeah. It'll have 1, 2, 3, and 4, yeah. And that's how the 4 goes, right. But the 4, the dead 4, is brought to life, yeah, and the 5 points of contact. So when the 5th comes into play, the 5th, we'll just do this as it is, right? And what I'm just giving you here is masonry, is real masonry, right? Not conspiracy theories where people are saying, oh, these masons are this and that. They have co-opted and deliberately taken the light, hidden it, used it for selfish gain, yet created societies that enable dark ones to manipulate and to take advantage of what is supposed to be pure light. Because you see, I have 5 fingers, I have 4 fingers actually, and a thumb. But these 4 fingers, yeah, the thumb here can interact with all 4 of these, yeah, that's what happens. So you have the earth, your bones, you have your waters within, right, and then you have your heat, which is the fire, which is the magnetism, yeah? And then you have the air. But you see, the fire and the water are two opposing forces. If we understood the power of the depth to the workings of enlightenment, yeah, in alignment with occult practice and in alignment with the realm, the occulted realm, the magical labyrinth that we are within, then we would not be in the situations, or they would not be in the situations that are currently set to take place for those that are dead. Yeah. So, as we were saying, the four, the four is brought to life by the penetration, yeah, of the fifth, yeah. A 5 down and then round, but it's coming down, yeah. This is how it works. So when we take an envelope, you have your four corners, and then you have a four-corner rule. I mentioned the last one in legalese, legalities, Black's Law Dictionary, etc. They have to follow this four-corner rule, right? Because there's four corners of the earth, right? So what happens is you have your four main elements, right? But then there is a fifth, and dead matter is brought to life by the 5 points of contact. How those 5 points of contact, the fifth raises it. So every time you take an envelope up, and this is why this is like this, and the mason wears this, he wears this here. He wears it here, in the lower region. Below the navel is where it is worn, right? And you will see it all over. And you will see it in a pyramid here. You'll see it in the pyramid here, yeah? So when these Aryans, etc., when they went to Egypt, right, as nobility, right, and then they would have taken a lot of the core, the height of knowledge, and placed it all around the earth where they were, wherever that they went, yeah, as nobility, as bloodlines that started off in Persia. Well, not started off in Persia, but that was the earliest recordings in Persia. What is then called to us as Iran, yeah, and then they then moved out from there. You've got Ireland and Italy, Italians and Iranians, and so on and so forth, and that's how these bloodlines work. But in reality here, what we have is a pyramid, right? Now on this pyramid, you will see. If I take it this way, you will see the cube here. So you will see 4 points, right? This pyramid is raised to life by the fifth point here. This fifth here, yeah, drops down below the death, below the demons and the vampires and the gnomes, and below all of things that we consider to be evil, and it fit this fifth principle, this Christ principle, falls and then is raised up and raises this dead matter to life, and that is what a pyramid is. And that's why you have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have the fifth, which is raised up, and which is then commanding these 4 elements here. It's then in command of these 4 elements here, and that is the working of the soul. Is what the soul does, right? And then you following the 5, we then have the 6, and the 6 is sex power, and the word sex, X, yeah, is 66, yeah, and this is a 66. This is a hypercube, right? And it's based upon sex. We then have, so when that's 6, you have the same centering centrifugal force here. This is why the 6 is that this sphere is her magnetism. So you will see this sphere, and then you will see it's upward, seems to go upwards as a rect, yeah. And then you have the 7. The 7 is murder. Murder is 7. Red rum. 7. All kings are given a scepter. The 7th scepter, right? Now, the kings are passed this scepter, and it's given to kings, yeah? So, as a symbol of kingship, right? So, and this 7 is going to give you the masculine principle. It's going to give you spirit, again, because you have matter, yeah? It's a plane of inertia, and then you have a 7, which is, this is always going to be the spirit principle, descending down into the depths of matter, yet to be risen up again, yeah? And that is the descent of the soul. We then have the 8. The 8 is the double cross, because the cube, again, the diamond even, what happens is the diamond, because the diamond has the 4 points. So the 4 points on the diamond, yeah, well then I think I did this much earlier on, yeah. The 4 points on the diamond will open up and give us a cross, yeah. And hidden within that, so it will give us a cross, 4s and 6s, which we'll look at here in a minute. 4s and 6s takes you back to 1, which is taking you back to spirit. It's all in there, yeah. So what happens is the diamond will open up and give us a cross, yeah. If you have a double diamond, you have a double cross, yeah, which is that. Inside of that double cross, that's going to give us our heaven and hell, and that is going to give us the perception what we have of dualism, of duality, inside of that figure of 8. But that figure of 8, in reality, is forever spinning. It's forever, and she is forever and ever. So the 8 again is feminine. The 9 is a follow-on from the 5, and that is why, and this is why, the 9 is a follow-on from the 5. You will find words such as water, ERs, all of the ERs, water, Jupiter, yeah, fire, yeah, all of those, yeah. There's the E and R together, yeah, and that equates. There's a combined forcing of spirit. So the 9 is a greater principle. It's interchangeable with the 5. The 9 and the 5 are interchangeable. With the 9 again, we have the centering force here, yeah, the magnetism, and then we also have, yeah, the magnetism, and we also have spirit descending down, again, making that descent, that deep descent, yeah, into denser matter, in order to be risen up again, yeah, which is the greatest love story ever told. So that gives us the law. They call it the law of 10. That gives us the 9. That gives us the key 9. Yeah. But though that 9 also then denotes form. Yeah. And the numbers themselves carry a vibrational frequency. In actual fact, that makes things move and matter and gives form to the matter that we are currently experiencing and we are working with. So, for example, if I take this a kitchen that I'm standing in, yeah, you will find that the base of the unit to the top, which comes to your waist, will be 90 centimeters. Will be 90 centimeters. That is how it works. You will find that the cabinetry, yeah, comes from the base here to here, and it's 60 centimeters. You will find that the wall cabinets here, they will come they are from the wall to here 30 centimeters, and this thing here is 60 centimeters, and all of the appliances that you find will be 60 centimeters, including the boiler on the left on this left hand side here will be 60 centimeters. Yeah. And that is why, yeah, there is no way of getting around it. There is no way of getting around it. Yeah, this is how it all intertwines. It's all intertwinable together in that way. Yeah, there's no getting around it. Even if you, and then if I then take it, if you take 3 and 6, yeah, and then multiply up, you'll get 36. I think again, if you multiply that by 4, it will take you back to 49. Yeah, you will get your 4s and 9s, right? You'll always get your 4s and 9s. Like I was saying, I can always say here, the law of 7, 7 higher, 7 lower, yeah. Again, 7, right? 7 is key, because 7 has to be an active principle. 7 is cleanliness, but what happens is 7 is regeneration. Every 7 years, yeah, all of the cells in the body will be regenerated and will be renewed again, and our perfect balance will always remain around the blood pH of the 7, as we know, yeah. So the way that the reality works, yeah, is based upon the movement of the toroidal, the movement of the field, yeah, which has, we define it as number, yeah, but in actual fact, in reality, yeah, these are metaphysical forces, that are actually governing and creating matter, and we are able to measure that via number. That is how things work. So even see the pack of 52 cards, which is 7, yeah, right, is key, yeah. So you see here, the 49 star flag, you see, so we have a 49 star flag. So this is all deliberate, by the way, as well. So the 49 star flag is available for purchase, blah, blah, blah. The 49 star flag on January the 3rd, 1959, Alaska was formally granted statehood, placing the 49th star on our flag, executive order of President Eisenhower, yeah, and there is the date, provided for the arrangement of the stars in 7 rows of 7 stars each, staggered horizontally and vertically, yeah, because that's giving you your 7 higher, horizontally, staggered, horizontally and vertically, yeah. They are speaking about matter and spirit as governing forces, yeah. That is how things are being put out there. They've always been put out there in that same way. There is no getting around it, and this is the true workings of this realm. So I wanted to show something before I go into this board, because what's actually happening is there are plasma beings and there are watcher beings, yeah, that watch what happens on the physical plane. And I had a situation. This one here is 2015, which I will show. 2015. I haven't shown this yet. I'm going to show it, right? Hopefully you can see that. 2015. Might not let you see this because it's a bit bright. The screen is bright there, yeah. 2015. Yeah, you see the time? 5:26. Yeah. 5:26. Amazing. Why is that amazing? Because it's taking us back to the 4. It's 13. And at 5:26, at this time, yeah, at that time, this was the moment where I had contact, yeah, with interdimensional beings, right? In actual fact, wanted to actually stop me from doing what I do now, yeah, in 2015, right? And I will just say, as it is, there was a situation. There are other people that know about this anyway, and I did share it even though I wasn't supposed to, right? And these beings, yeah, were hovering above my house on the first night. This is over a period of 2 nights. They were hovering over my house. I was on the phone quite late at night, yeah, and I noticed it but didn't think anything of it. And I thought, I wonder if whatever that was, I'll go back and see. I wonder if it's there the next night. And then the very next night, it was there again. It was there. And the light was so bright as well, I could see it was coming through the dining room window. Initially, I could see it. I then decided to go and open the back door, because this was out at the back of the house. As I opened the back door, there it was, in the sky, as a plasma orb. It would disappear and come back. Now, I'll speak about this now because there's lots of sightings now that people see. I've had this for all this time, right? And there are people that know about it, right? And I've been waiting for the right moments to sort of divulge this information, right? And these are points of self-realization that just let you know that everything that you know is as it is. Now, people are having those sort of realizations now, like things are happening now. They've the veils have come back to a certain extent to let you know, yes, this is exactly what it was. Yeah, the cognitive dissonance, etc., where as human beings we tell ourselves that things are not happening as we think they are, but they are happening just as you think they are in many cases. So anyway, so what happened was, as I opened the back door to view the entities in the sky, it then became very apparent to me, as it would come back and disappear, that it was watching me just as I was watching it. And then I realised that there was only me in the house at that time. There was only me there, right? Having just been through a breakup, quite a big breakup. So at that point, I then decided that I was going to film it. So I went to get the phone to film it. I went up to the bathroom window, see if I could see it there, and I kept coming downstairs. And what I noticed was at these points, it wasn't going anywhere. This film started about 2:30, and then I realised that it's not going anywhere. And then I just kept trying to film it, as I was doing. I took quite a few videos of it. This filming I'm going to show you of it was in the kitchen, right? And it was of the people mentioned it. It was mentioned in the newspapers as well, and that's how I knew the way that they worded it, all stupid as they do. Oh, there was a rock in the sky, sort of thing, right? Well, it was obvious, yeah. So when I decided finally to get into bed, yeah, having been looking around the house, filming it, all sorts, crazy, yeah. As I decided to go to sleep, I said in my mind that I am going to reveal what I have seen. I'm going to put it on Facebook, etc. Because I was already posting at that point as well about the truth, trying to really work, right? Early on, at that point, right? Early on in the Facebook sort of day, you know what I mean, of what I was doing, right? Not long found out about the shape of the earth at that stage, right? So, it then, I shouldn't even laugh because this is how it is, right? As I said these words in my mind, I then went into a deep paralysis. My whole body couldn't move. I couldn't move my body. My whole body was frozen. I could not move. I've had paralysis before, so I know exactly what it was. But look at this. The whole room started shaking like I was an ant had been sucked up by a vacuum cleaner. I'm not joking, because I knew this because I was half asleep. This is how they do it. And ever since that, I've looked at other people's other scenarios where this has happened to other people, and it's very similar to what happened to me. And it is bang on, because I've not long been with my partner that I'm with now, and I told her about it, and she will tell you about it. She wasn't there, but I went to her house the following night, gratefully, yeah, and she experienced it with me, and then she came to stay in the house with me, etc. So she knows that this is what had happened to me. I spent days looking up into the sky because of it afterwards, thinking that why not explain to you what happened to me? You would think that this could happen to you at any moment. And there was another sighting that we had after this, where I've blatantly seen what looks like Transformer type characters being carried through the sky, yeah. And then there was like a gold plane that looked like it was just a lightning bolt plane that was escorting this thing. You see, now this is the problem with this place. because they have been able to co-opt and manipulate minds into thinking they can only take in surface information. And this is why, even in other scenarios when other people have encountered spirit and X, Y, and Z, then because of the nature of it, and they're not able to explain themselves correctly in a manner that is digestible to other beings, people cast it off and cast the individuals off and say, "Oh, this person's crazy," etc., because they're not able to explain themselves correctly. But I am explaining myself correctly. Yeah, and that is why a lot of the knowledge that we do is just the truth, straight truth. That is it. I don't deal with conspiracy. The word conspiracies. They've created the word conspiracy anyway, deliberately, for that reason. These are called deliberate firewalls and fire traps to keep people away from things that stop them from profiting. Yeah, etc. So, what happened was all of a sudden the blinds started shaking like crazy. That's what woke me up. That's what lifted. And then as that started happening, the whole room was shaking, and I'm in the bed, and I'm going to show you it in a minute. And I'm in the bed. I'm not going to show you that because obviously I couldn't film that because I'm in bed. But I'm going to show you the entity in the sky and the recording of the plasma orb in the sky. We didn't have the technology. We didn't have the knowledge to know about plasma orbs and light beings at that stage like we do now. Right. Which makes it much easier for me to show this. So what happened was, I then started to be lifted up out of the bed. I then started to be lifted up out of the bed. At that point, there was nothing else left, but I could hardly move my mouth. There was nothing else left for me but to call upon Christ. This is what happened. This is exactly as it is. And I said, "Jesus Christ!" like that. And as I said that, I can laugh now, but there was no laughing matter at that point. There was nothing to laugh about at that point for days and weeks. I was grateful that the next night I was able to go and stay at my partner's house. But when I left her house in the morning, I was still there looking up like this for this thing. And friends of mine who were unconscious, they went and looked at it because, yeah, something did actually happen. It was in the newspaper, blah, 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 blah. Yeah. So it was only because I mentioned the name Christ that it let me go. Yeah, and ever since then I've known, and now, look, I'm there doing some stuff. I'm there putting out truth like this, right? Irregardless, when I put the truth out, it is just the truth. Irregardless to who hears it, who likes it, who does what with it. All of the liking and the following and all the rest of it, it makes me sick. Coming from the perspective of the soul, it makes me sick because it is designed to take you away from what you truly are. It is designed to take us all away from recognising the beauty within each and every one of us, because it's designed to put you upon a narcissistic track to keep you in alignment with your false ego, which is in alignment with your animal consciousness, which is in alignment with the lower part of the lower portion of your vessel, which is below your navel. Yeah, which is wanting you to gratify yourself above everybody else. The thing that's making us want to stand upon another. Yeah. Yeah, this is what's happening, right? Like sheep that are standing on each other. One's on the floor and you're standing on its neck, trying to put yourself above in some way. Yeah, which is illusory. So the whole creating of, the liking and the following and all the rest of it, you did not create that, did you? No, exactly. What it does is it brings forth and it emphasises your lower animal carnal nature that makes you want to compete against your brothers and sisters. Right, so anyway, I'm now going to show, I'll show it so you can see it, right. I hope you can see it clearly. Let's have a look. That's it in the sky. This is me at the back door. Whoa. Look, look. That's just the black sky. Whoa. 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 Okay. So that is something that happened, that took place in 2015, and we're using with, as I was speaking, I was saying about number, right? I was saying about number and form, yeah, can be used there to denote any particular action that is taking place, yeah. That is how this place works. There is no coincidence. There is no coincidence at all. None. Not one single coincidence. So I had that supernatural metaphysical experience, one of many, that was at that particular point. That was at that particular point. There are many more astral experiences that I can explain and go into, which we'll go into in further video form, yeah. But that, I was speaking about the ego as well, and that is one of the things that happens with the Christ principle, yeah, which is conscience. Is that when we see and when it is brought to us, when our supernatural nature is brought to us, we perceive it as though it is the individual speaking about just themselves only. We take it from the perspective of separation. This is why the ego is blinded by enlightenment. It's blinded by enlightenment, yeah, for that reason. So when we, in any occasion where beings have come forth to bring forth and to shed light on our real state of supernatural being, of what we really are, and our supernatural abilities and so on and so forth, the being that's the subject, the receiver, perceives it with false light, and perceives it from the perspective of the ego as the one that is the bringer of this truth. The bringer of the truth is, in actual fact, has a negative agenda, when in reality the bringer of the truth is actually bringing them the light that helps them to set themselves free, yeah. And that is the situation that we are in, right? So then I just wanted to, as I do this, bear with me, I'm going to read this and I'm going to share it as well. I'm going to share it, right? This is masonry, real masonry. When and what's also happening in this they call it a truth movement. But what's happened is a lot of the true occult teachings have not really been able to come to the forefront as they should be, and because of that, we suffer with imbalance. Even when we look at things like dualism, we are still, in many cases, suffering with imbalances that were fed into the psyche in the early stages of awakening. If you look at people that are awakening from sort of 2012 and going forward from there, yeah, with the overemphasis on just love and light. You have your ego, it's not going to go anywhere, but you have to become in command of it instead of it being in command of you, which is what we call taming the dragon. Yeah. In many scenarios, in many aspects, the occult world was perceived as, oh, this is negative, oh dear, these people are demons, they're worshipping demons, etc. You have still Christian people, and they think that they're looking at things like Gnosticism, and they think that it is of the devil. Dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear. Yeah. And this is how the fallen sorcerers, etc., yeah, have been able to manipulate many minds, yeah, because they are not in a standing, the sort of dual aspect and dual nature to every single thing. Light masonry, dark masonry, yeah, good Christians, bad Christians, yeah, good occultists, bad occultists, right, that's how it is, yeah, good sex, bad sex, right, good food, bad food. This is how it is, but when it comes to dealing with knowledge and enlightenment, the notion of that runs exceptionally deep. If we're not able to fully grasp exactly what is happening, and enlightenment, they hide. It has to be hidden because there are ways and practices, sexual practices that give enlightenment to man. That give man is enlightenment. Give man supernatural powers. So it has to be done in that way. So real masonry, right? Change the appetite of the individual for knowledge rather than drink, and saloons will close their doors. Change the appetite of the individual for knowledge rather than drink, and saloons will close their doors. This is about 200 or 300 years old, this writing, right? Give to men real knowledge, not that substitute knowledge which he cannot prove, which he cannot prove up by. Yeah. Not that substitute knowledge which he cannot prove up by. Teach a man how to conserve his own life force, how it can be utilised to prolong his life, increase his joy, and ensure him prosperity. And half the tinselled resorts of the half world will close. Teach a man to respect every woman as his sister, mother, or daughter, and the other half will close. Life is a religion, its altar is humanity. Yeah? Life is a religion, its altar is humanity. Yeah? But when man's fault upon woman is stemming from below the waist line, yeah? And when woman's fault is stemming from below the waistline, we bring forth children who match the same frequency of those faults. This is how it is. So when one is meditating, you're looking to raise upwards. Yeah? You're coming down, the cosmic telepathy is coming down, in order to then be risen back up. The 5 and the 9 was going to drop down in order to be risen back up again. But when our faults lie below the navel here, yeah, then this is when we become an animal. And it's not just to become an animal, this is when we are in alignment with, you see, this positive magnetism here. Positive magnetism, which is when you will find that in alignment with the body. You will find that in alignment in many ways with certain foods that are eaten. This is how it is. Because when I go back to one of these other boards, which we did, when I go back to here, when I go back to this anagram here, right? When I go back to the vortex math and anagram here, you will find that what you digest will then go straight through to this cerebrum, yeah, and then it will go to the circulatory system, and then it will go to the sex organs. Once it goes to the sex organs, it then goes to it will then go, sorry, my mistake, the cerebellum. Once it goes through to the sex organs, it will then drop down and it will go to the cerebrum. Yeah. So it's about, because it's about sensation, and magnetism has been hidden, and then goes onto the endocrine system, onto the heart, to how we feel, and then that defines how we're then going to eat again next after that. But it's all about, you see, magnetism is about sensation, yeah, as well. And these are things that have been hidden from us. And when we are in alignment with that, the positive magnetism, this is when we then become oversexed, as I was saying previously. There is no, what I'm speaking about here, yeah, it's not something that you can say, oh, this that I'm just speaking about. This is real science. It's a hidden science that is applicable to all of life, and each one of these, they're interchangeable. What happens is, when the energy moves from one pole, it takes a 180-degree spin back up to the north. So the north geographic pole is in the south, and the south geographic pole is in the north. Yeah, I'll go into that. We'll go into that. That's how magnetism works. Yeah. So these are two distinctive forces, and the centre is an inertial dielectric plane, and the loss of that dielectricity, that dielectric force, gives us our magnetism. The loss of that force is what gives us this magnetism. Yeah, and the magnetism spins, but the electric force, flows. So all matter is spinning. All matter is spinning, and this is why we're saying about the elements, how we have to work with them. All matter is spinning, yeah, and then frozen. Matter is frozen light. Crystallization of such. So crystallization of light. This here, yeah, is crystals. These are crystals. So you'll see here. This bottle here, yeah. If you don't look with dualistic eyes, you'll see crystals. You'll see crystals upon this bottle. You'll see crystals upon the bottle there. These are all crystals on this bottle. Crystals, look. Crystals. And the diamond crystallizes. So as a diamond, yeah, what we do is we crystallize. We crystallize. So all of the minerals and all the elements and all of the metaphysical forces of matter, they become crystallized. So we have a crystallization, yeah, and then the matter crystallizes itself. So this is how light and spirit then becomes captured and suspended in matter. This is how it is. So again, here, this came through to me, right? For the Lamb, this is Revelation. Look, Revelation 7:17. I'm coming from an occult perspective, so I'm dealing with many different, all angles of light here, and there is nothing being excluded. We exclude none. Yeah, excluding none, and we accept and invite all. For the Lamb at the centre of the throne will be their shepherd. He will lead them to springs of living water, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. Yeah, he will lead them to springs of living water. Our skin is that like another animal? The animals that live on the land. Yeah, we are in alignment with our skin is in line with water. Yeah, we also have that's the way that we are. We have an aquatic nature also as well. So when we drink, when we take our waters up towards this electromagnetic centre here, which if I will tell you, if this is what they used to do, you see, in more denser states, they were thinking below the navel here. So when they would create an execution, yeah, this is with Jack and Jill. We're going to go into the Jack, yeah, Jack and Jill, right? When they chopped your head off, right, they would take the head and listen to this. People think that they used to chop the heads off and show it to the crowd. No, the other way around. They were showing the head to the crowd, the electromagnetic peak, pinnacle mountain. All of the senses of magnetism come back to the head, which is the ram, right? Which is the seat of the soul power, right? Yeah, in here, in the court of love here, right? Now, what happens is, but for 8 seconds, life and death, the head is still conscious and visible, can see it's still alive for 8 seconds, even detached from the body. So these evil beings, what you would call evil, to live, they live evil, yeah? To live is to die, yeah? But you cannot live without facing evil, yeah? So on the long-term, long scale of things, beings who've been here, they think you've just woken up, you've got 108th time, yeah? That brings you to humility. But what you could do is chop off the head, yeah, and show it to the crowd, because the head is still conscious and still alive and can see the crowd. So they're showing the head to the crowd, and then they're showing the head, the body, yeah, because they're thinking from below the navel. So because they think from below the navel, they can only think of the self. So they cannot see, they are blinded. So they are wearing the blindfold, so they presume themselves, they're hypnotised and think that they're separate at that stage. This is what they were, so more carnal, animalistic, upon the wave, right? So, lifetimes that were spent there, people that are watching this, you were there, yeah, and this is how it is. And there was also another one as well, yeah. I think her name was Lizzie Barden, yeah. She chopped up Lizzie Barden. This is a poem, yeah, which was based on a true story, but she didn't actually commit these murders, what they say. She gave her mother 40 whacks. When she was done, she went on to give her father 41. Yeah? See, these are occultists that are doing all of this. This is going to give you 9, which is spirit. Spirit, with an agenda. Does an agenda that spirit have to be good? No. Agenda can be bad. We have the spirit of lies. The soul can work for the purposes of good and for bad. Yeah? But we've been tricked to believing, oh, I'm a soul now, that means I'm a perfect being, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't work like that, because you are in matter. You are in matter. So you have imperfections as well. You have, and you fall upon this wheel. And you spend many, many lifetimes here. Many. Dealing with self-judgment and dealing with the unpleasant natures and trying to get over the unpleasantness of falling into dense matter. This is the way that things work. Right. So, moving forward, I'm going to go straight back into the board that we were currently on previously. So we was looking at Nurgle, yeah. Now I was saying Ner means light, yeah, but Gal in Latin is Gal, which means cockerel, which is giving you a rooster. But the lion's head, supernatural. All the first depictions of a god here, I know many of them had lion's head, yeah, supernatural. But Gal is Galilean, yeah. But Gal, Jesus was also known as a cock. What is the cock? The cock is the sun rises to the light of the sun. What does a rooster do? A rooster crows. It crows, yeah. A rooster crows, yeah, at the crack of dawn, yeah. Which is when we receive the light. When we receive the light, we receive a crowning. The crow signifies the crowning, doesn't it? This is what happens. But Nurgle also signifies an angle of light, a shade of light. The sun is giving off microns and cycles. These are numbers, a frequency numbers, different cycles again. If we come out into the sun light, yeah, in many types of skin, yeah, then the sun can still burn you. This is dualism here, look. See, this is dualism. This is dualism here, right? But Nurgle is going to give you Gal, but Gal is going to give you a cock, which is a rooster, right? But then Jesus was also a Galilean, right? And then his 12 disciples. The main one was Peter. Peter became the first pope. Peter means penis. Yeah. Peter means penis. A penis is a cock. So some of the Canaanites, they went to the city of London and became cockneys. Yeah, they became cockneys, right? Working with a phallic principle. Some of the beings that the tribe of Judah, they were symbolized by a lion, which again symbolizes Leo, When we used to have the summer solstice, it's called the lion's grip in occultism as well, because it was more towards Leo than it was Cancer going back and going well, which is symbolized by which is going to give you a lion, right? And this is how things work. So Jesus was also, and the tribe of Judah, they were told to them they would bring forth the Son of God, which is going to be Jesus. The tribe of Judah, they were found in Crete, which is Mount Ida. In Mount Ida, at the top of Mount Ida, is the home of the goddess, which is where I said Jupiter and Zeus was kept. But you used to get also the priests of Pan, there, eunuchs. These were men who had their penises castrated. Why is that? Because it was saying about this lower nature. So they know that this positive magnetism, if you cannot control it, it will drag you. It will drag you, and then from the phallic principle, and it will make you too boisterous and too clumsy and overstrong. That is stopping you from accessing here. This is Father Time and the Maiden. See, the Masonry, they learn all of this, so I'm going to teach it. There. So there's the eye. The people go, oh, there's the eye, be scared of the eye. This is the eye of illumination, the seventh ray. Ein Sof Or. So here you see this here. The time, as one life ends, another one is beginning. As one ends, another will begin. And that's going to give us this time here. Again, if I just take that off of the jack, we'll take that off the jack. There's the jack. You see here, he's facing, he knows that as this one life diminishes, the next one is going to be made manifest. He knows this, So he knows that he has work to do. And he has 6 coils in his hair because he's in alignment with the lower 6 there. And this is why he's a spade. Look, because when you see a spade is to dig up a grave, right? And when you dig up a grave, what you're doing is you're setting your sculptor. So this is your sculptor here, your sepulture there, And then what's happening is he's going to bury himself in the polluted earth. This is what he was going to be done in order so that he could be reborn again. But here you have the Father Time and the Maiden. So you have to prepare your spiritual bride. Because otherwise, if you don't prepare your spiritual bride, you see here, he's got this scythe, the sickle, But this is, he's going to chop off his head, This is like the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper has this. But this is Father Time, And the Maiden, you have to prepare your Maiden, which is your spiritual nature, as we're saying there. And in actual fact, there's a little W there, here, which is going to give us the 5, And she is holding on to one pillar, and the other pillar is in the background here, And it is all happening under the eye of the Supreme, of the Supreme Grand Architect, That's where what is happening there. So, Nurgle was used. So they would use Nurgle here because you see, Willis was saying here. So on here, you see, you have. This is why he has the scepter. He has the scepter, but he's also there's the mother goddess there, but there's also a serpent here. There are 2 tribes. There was the eagles and the serpent, right? That's how things were. But you see here, this serpent energy here, it's just above the dualism here, This is going to give us a serpent energy, a serpent force, serpent beings. I would consider myself as a descendant of the serpent beings, of the serpent people, of the serpent, as a Naga. And that's why I understand how these forces work, because it's something that's within my DNA to know. So, Nurgle would then be used when they take over, when they would take over the land, they would put like a phallic, a cock up there, yeah, and then that phallic and that cock would be used, yeah, to psychologically, let's say, to bring about plagues, pestilence, because fungi and mold, in actual fact, would be a good way to actually, nullify your enemy, and then obviously they use the phallic principle to then take over your women, say for example, yeah, and then they would make them bring forth their beings, their seed instead, yeah. But these are how these gods, entity gods, would have been used in those ways. So moving forward, go back to the board, right? So that's why when we had here, we had Enlil, another god, which is Lord of the Storm, yeah, Lord of Storm. But then you see, Lord of Storm would give us, Enlil is connected to Marduk, is a child of Enlil. These are all connected. They're all connected, and then and Nurgle is connected to these supreme gods as well. Yeah, supreme gods. What you call gods that are connected to the luminaries. Yeah, 7. There's always a 7. The 7 that they said the 7 descended down upon the earth, right? But then also, yeah, you also have, yeah, supreme bloodlines, supreme beings, supreme bloodline beings who then interact with other beings upon the earth, and that's why now we are all hybrids. We're all hybrids of lots of different beings, You've got like what Denisovans, Cro-Magnon, Neanderthals, all type of different beings that was all upon the earth, and all had different, they all had different ways of being, different strengths, different characters, different capabilities, yeah, and then you have like a melting pot. But if you're in a stand where you are, to that depth, then it's blood, and working with bloodlines becomes vital and key. Yeah. And that is why we are so confused. That is one main reason why we are so confused. So then you have Marduk, right? But then this will equal the Temple of Jupiter. The Temple of Jupiter, yeah. The Temple of Jupiter. They were working with the Romans, in actual fact, near volcanoes, near the temple. Yeah, there is something called a mineral called sal ammoniac. Yeah, and they would sniff this near the Temple of Jupiter. Right, this ammoniac. Right, they would sniff this. Now, Ammon, and when you with sal ammoniac, what it does is it pulls out the death breath again. It pulls things out. It pulls things outwards. Yeah, because it's highly alkaline. Ammonia. Where am I going with this? Right. So then you've got Ammon. Yeah. And then Ammon is Jupiter. So Ammon Ra was Ammon means it was Jupiter. Yeah. And then Ra was the sun. So they would always work with Jupiter and the sun. Yeah. Because Jupiter has the largest magnetosphere. Yeah. Which in the past, because these luminaries are much closer, has been able to bring destruction upon this earth. Yeah, because it sounds like, if you think this is how it is, because we are living in accordance with the laws of nature. Yeah, this is how it was, and there are texts, everything else that it can pull up to show that this was the case in the past. Everybody adored and venerated Jupiter. And what Jupiter did and said goes, because Jupiter was able to bring the lightnings and thunders and everything in order to bring about a plasma reset, which is what you're witnessing right now. Right. So, and then you would also, then that will then give us, like I was saying here, Ammon. But Ammon, yeah, is connected to a secret nitrogen, right? Now, I'm going to play this video. This is from a video that I did about a year or so ago now. So now you have this thing with this mask and all the rest of it. So if you see this here now. Yeah, that is how it works, right? That is how it works, right? They are deliberately, they do that. So a dentist, like I say, people, they are breathing their negative emotion on them. It's negative emotion because it's negative because it doesn't get pushed out properly. Why is that? When you more inhale here, like this, yeah. When you inhale here like this, the acid level, your acidity increases, and you move towards acidosis, yeah. When you get acidosis, when you move towards acidosis, so for example, when somebody when we have acidosis, in respiratory acidosis, the kidney produces and excretes ammonia. Yeah, and I've been through it. This is, see, remember we said this is how we know. So we have organic ammonia. Right. Yeah. So the kidneys are known as pillars, 2 pillars as well in masonry, and they begin with the reins here, and that is why as we come through, the sexation is key. And this is why we fail and we have to keep falling back on the wheel, back and falling back into the diamond, where we come in as perfect, because the mason knows that he has to become commander of his kidneys. Imagine that, of his kidneys, because your kidneys excrete an ammonia, yeah, which brings forth a balance, and the kidneys also acts to get rid of the acidity that is within the body. And the kidneys are the 2 of them, 2 pillars. So they are giving you the 2 pillars again, but they are giving you double ones, which is giving you an active principle. If you have too much sex and too much ejaculation, and when we be oversexed, when we are less sexed, it brings us closer to the supreme being that we are, and that there is the supreme being, what they call God. But it's a word, a definition that's passed on to you. But it's far superior to that. Yeah, as an androgynous force. The kidneys over orgasms in terms of ejaculatory orgasms, yeah, oversexed, plays havoc upon the kidneys. Once the kidneys are not working correctly, then this is when the situation, the body starts to deteriorate, and it's only through man's ignorance why he suffers with deformities, ailments, and negativities to his body, and causing him to die based on his own ignorance. So we stand there and we go, what? As we're awakening, we say, why does God, divinity, let these people be so evil? Why does he let them do that? He doesn't let nobody do anything. Nobody's getting away with anything. Instead of living for 500 years to 1,000 years, we're in this situation where people, they are banging their head, they just don't realise it, but they're suffering. They're banging their head against the brick wall every day, and they're dragging their feet and dragging their knuckles, and it says it in the Bible that they will go forth and bruise your head and bang your knees and everything else, yeah? Because early on in the garden, they were vegan, etc. They weren't eating animals. They didn't have to suffer doing such things, yeah? Now, why does it happen? Why do you not do these things? Because when you do these things, it stagnates your blood, and in actual fact, the way that nature works. If I put my hand in the fire, it will burn. I've heard people saying that, oh, because of dualism means that you can do what you want when you want. No, you can't do what you want when you want. Dualism means, in actual fact, means knowing the difference between right and wrong. Knowing the difference between right and wrong. Yeah. And there is an objective right and wrong. Subjectively, the right and wrong parameters are not like, so you might sit down and say, oh, I think this is wrong and that's wrong. No, this in that isn't wrong. In terms of, it's not wrong for me to drink this, yeah, but it's not right for me to drink it, but it's balancing for me to drink it. It's balancing for me to drink it. Because if this was alcohol and I drink it, yeah, then what's going to happen, it's not that it's wrong for me to drink it, but then the negativity in it will bring about a negativity for me, yeah, which will then lead me onto learning from it at some stage upon this wheel. But we look at our initial lifetime as being the main core of everything, and that's where our selfishness comes into play. And even once we come out of this area with this jack here, out of this area, once we fall here, even when we come all the way onto the other half of the wheel, when we come all the way around to this house here, in Aries here, yeah, the quarter of love, once we climb up out of death and we are reborn again, yeah, we are still imperfect at that stage. And that is why he only has one eye still. But the diamond has two eyes. The jack of diamond has two eyes for that reason. Even when these cards, right, these cards, this is just normal Google, right? What does this is their version of it, right? What does the spade mean sexually, right? To flirt with a person, go away, I'm spading. John, yeah, see more words with the same meaning to flirt, fraternalise, mingle, right? So I'm going to go back into that, but I just wanted to touch on that. And that is what happens here anyway, from an occult perspective, because the spade falls. Because the diamond falls, yeah, by becoming compromised by its lower sexual nature, through being in ignorance. You have to fall, yeah, by not understanding the workings of the being, by letting the lust of the body take over, yeah, at that stage. This is why we can never judge another upon awakening, because you have probably done this 108 times. This is where humility comes into play, yeah. So back to the board. So and ammonia. So that ammonia, when it's through, if the body's not working properly, doesn't get released. What is that ammonia doing? It is removing the negativities from within the body. Where is ammonia? Ammonia is turned into urea, which resides within your urine. Yeah. So that amino acids such as taurine, etc., that reside within the urine, are the main function of the working of your heart. It doesn't work without the taurine. Once the taurine is diminished within your body will start to diminish. Once a lot of the amino acids are not working, and all the others such as the silice, etc., your body starts to diminish, and this is why we start to get old. And this is why in the Bible, yet again, it will say to you, it will say in there, yeah, that when you have ejaculated, yeah, when you have ejaculated, yeah, then you need fresh waters to make you clean again by morning, by the next day. Yeah, we're going to go into the jack as well, how that works from a syncretic perspective. Yeah. So the waters, yeah, and our being go much deeper than we think they do. If I was talking about Atlantis, teach about Atlantis from a centre point, you will find that you have Atlantis, you have a point, right, and then you have waters. And then there's all the outer lands and waters. So waters is key, yeah? Do we have an aquatic nature? Partly. Do we come from that? Highly so. Highly so. Yeah. So Enki, as I said here, is the god of the water. Yeah. But Enki was the creator of man. These are allegorical stories. He's the creator of man, but he's the god of the water, right? What is water? Water is wisdom. What is a human? The Homo sapien is wisdom, right? But it's also trickery as well at the same time. Yeah. So you have here Ammon. Now nitrogen gases are what are you see nitrogen gases. So gases, magnetism is a field of energy. And I speak about these fields these plasma fields that a lot of people are only just starting to look at now, only starting to come into our consciousness. Yeah. Once you create the correct conditions externally, this is again how nature works. Once you create the correct conditions, yeah, you can capture supremely immortal fields that are not normal visibly to you in the visible phase. These fields, once you create the correct conditions within, you can use them. You can use them once, and they will accelerate your own internal plasma, because you are a plasma being, and they will activate the light within the DNA within your cells. Yeah, which means that you will access an upgraded state of being without having to continually use this. It means that when I drink this, when I drink this watermelon is what water. This is not watermelon to me anymore, because I'm not working with mundane definition anymore. So when I drink this, not only is it sweet, as in natural sugars, glucose coming from the light of the sun through photosynthesis, through radiocarbon, in actual fact, which then drops down into CO2, which then manifests as food, which then nitrogen actually reverts itself. These radiocarbon reverts itself back as a full cycle after it's done all of that out of your body and turns back into nitrogen fields, right? And then these nitrogen fields, yeah, are then collected, captured, right, in order to create fertilizer, because this is how ammonia comes about, yeah, through nitrogen and hydrogen, yeah, through what they call a Haber process, yeah, and then that Haber process is then used as a fertilizer, bringing forth amino acids, because amino acids are the building block of life, yeah, as a fertilizer in order so that we can create agriculture. The early beings who the early Aryans actually, yeah, these were these had super intelligence. So in actual fact, they did agriculture. They brought agriculture through, and in actual fact, that's what you will find in some of these Sumerian stories, is they brought agriculture through to us, so that we could become, so we could grow food properly in alignment with the earth. Yeah, this is what was actually happening. So here, you then have ammonia, right? That is how ammonia gets gathered. It's a process that creates a lot of energy. It requires a lot of energy in order to generate it, in order to generate this ammonia. Yeah, but then ammonia is a rocket fuel. Is a rocket fuel. And see, I'm speaking about AM here. AM. What is AM? Yeah. AM is Amma, but AM is alpha male. AM is 5. And you get AM in the morning, and when you get AM in the morning, you get the rising of the light. And what does that do? It rises your testosterone. If you're a male, it's going to give you an erection. An erection is coming. What is erection? Erection is 1. It's connected to the 5. Why is it connected to the 5? That is the 5 there. When you go to a church, they're going to give you an erection look. See? And on the top of that, you'll have a weather vane. And at that top of that, you will find 4 points. And on top of that 4 points, you will generally find a rooster, a cock. Yeah? Which signifies an angle of light. Incoming. Yeah? So that's how this works. So then, ammonia, like I was saying, is a rocket fuel. Ammonia, they've been hiding all of this. Hydrogen and ammonia, NH, can be used to fly jets, planes. I've got it on here. If you go research it now, you'll see it's something new. Yeah. Now they use ammonia to like I was saying, for the powering of a jet, of jet forces. Yeah. That is what ammonia can do, because ammonia is a supremely powerful force. So if ammonia is a supremely powerful force, which it is, yeah, right? It is a supreme force, yeah. Where is ammonia? Ammonia is in your urea. Ammonia has a pH of 11. The strength of a magnetic field can be measured by its pH, and the pH of this light bearer golden platinum plasma has the pH of 11. I have another one. There's another one over here. This is look at that. This one here is a gold, and it also has the pH of 11. But you see, the gold, to get that sort of pH, we need to be working with the violets and the purples. The violets and the purples is in alignment with Jupiter. Jupiter has ammonia hailstorms. It has a heavy density of ammonia. It was ammonium nitrate, I believe, that caused the bomb to go off. They say to cause the bomb to go off at Beirut, right? So that is you're working with, in order for that to happen, in order for that to take place, we're working with ammonia. Yeah, that is what brings that forth. I'm just going to then go back now, and then I want to cut back into. Just bear with me a second. I'm going to cut straight back in to this here because I want to make sure that this gets shown. Right. There are a few things that I'm going to show. This first one, we'll have a look at this quickly here. We'll do this.
Gencell invented its A5 off-grid power solution to supply clean, reliable, and affordable power wherever and for as long as it is needed. A single 12-ton tank of ammonia fuels the A5 for a year. Ammonia, NH3, is a 100% clean liquid fuel that doesn't require high pressure or cryogenic storage. At room temperature, ammonia gas naturally forms inside the tank. The ammonia gas flows from the tank into the ammonia cracker. The ammonia molecules, each of which contain 1 nitrogen and 3 hydrogen atoms, travel into the cracker and flow upwards through the cracker chambers. As the ammonia comes into contact with the catalyst separates the nitrogen from the hydrogen atoms. The mix of 75% hydrogen and 25% nitrogen flows into the fuel cell generator. The lighter nitrogen atoms float upwards and are vented harmlessly into the atmosphere. Inside each fuel cell, the hydrogen comes into contact with electrolyte containing oxygen. While the hydrogen and oxygen atoms form water, electrons are released to create electricity.
Yeah.
Each Gencell generator produces 5 kilowatts of electricity. It can power just about anything.
Right. So I just wanted to show that. Now I found that. Obviously, I found that after I've been doing a lot of work on those people. If you've followed the work that I do, yeah, I've been speaking about a lot about the ammonia, because with the H-ere, with the smell, we go, oh, what is the smell of this H-ere, blah blah blah, and it's the ammonia, yeah, and it's the strength, and what it's doing, it is helping to accelerate the bodily processes, because you are a supreme piece of tech, organic tech, yeah. So we have been taught to perceive ourselves from a more mundane perspective, when in reality really we have all of these different plasmas here. All of these different plasmas, yeah, are a supreme voltage force. So I've got lots of them, loads and loads of them, yeah, loads and loads of them, and I'm going to do a video and show how quickly you can create. So in these fields here, I created this is a big plasma here, right? These are the fields that reside outside of the visible light phase, that are not visible to you, that you can't see, but they want to be with you. But you have to create the correct condition in order for them to accelerate towards where you are at. Yeah, and then from that point, from doing that, it then ignites. What happens is we are igniting the soul. That is what we are doing. We are directly then igniting the soul, right? Upon igniting the soul, then the limitlessness becomes available to us as we continue to move. Yeah. Electricity is cold. So what the S-pH-ere will do, if you put it on your skin and it's wet, if you go outside, you will feel an energy in the air, which is cold, because magnetism repulses electricity. So what happens is the heat of the magnetism repulses electricity up into the atmosphere, upwards like this. Yeah, this is the dance that takes place. And then when the heat comes down, when the heat disappears, then that's when the electricity falls, and that's what gives you that dew in the morning, which is the wetness. But that wetness, the air, the waters that come from in the air, they are pure electric. They're an electric fluid. That's what they are. And that's why when you get rainwater, if you drink it, you'll feel it. Like, yeah, and that's why outside of the matter state, yeah, outside of the visible light phase, are forms of energy that are able to, like you just seen here with the nitrogen gases. So to get that, for this to take place, it is IR heated. IR. So Iran, you see, these bloodlines come from Iran, right? Which was initially Persia, yeah? And then there's another group of people called Chi. We did it on the other board. Chi is child. Chi is the energy, is this energy force, this serpent energy force that I work with, that we work with, yeah? That we teach, that exists, that is real, that is operating within, yeah? And it is upon if we ejaculate, I've got another board here, which will go on the next video probably now. If we then ejaculate, they call it prolactin, comes into it, makes you tired. But if you are able to walk away, from your loved one, etc., in the moment, yeah, in the moment of your orgasm, before your ejaculation, you will open a new door to the world of orgasm. Yeah, as you walk away, you will be introduced to a new force and a new active power. Yeah, and there are truths within that even we don't listen. There are truths within that. There are truths within the woman that there are keys within the woman that unlock the door to illumination. And that is hidden within these secret societies. And that is the fear of a woman, of ourselves. What the fear that resides within us. So we then have the ammonia. Yeah, ammonia comes from the breakdown of, this is what we're saying about the taurine. Yeah, and these supercharged aminos have a left spin. These aminos, right? They have a left spin, which is increasing life. Yeah. Now these aminos deanimate in the body to create ammonia. That is where it. So if there's somebody listening to this and you are sorry, there's no way for me to tell you that you're dead, that they're dead. Yeah. It is only through your pain you will recognise your gain. Yeah. All of this beating around the bush that we do doesn't serve us in any way, shape or form. Right. All it does is it further buries us in rubble, in dense matter, so we cannot recognise the light of day. So we are suffering even though we think that we are not. That is how this place works. So these beings will die much sooner than they should be, but that process will be accelerated because the day of ignorance is dawning. It is over. It is done. It's done. Yeah. So when we have been teaching this over the years, and they cannot grasp it, and they refuse it, yeah, they are marking their own death, right? Yeah, and that is how things work, right? You're marking your own death. I will come straight back to this. You're marking your own death, right, through things like this. What actually happens is, come all the way back up here. there is this song here. This lady. You see, you have this adrenochrome here. Yeah. In this adrenochrome, you'll see there's a bond there of CH3. Yeah? You see that bond of CH3? It's keeping you looking active. It's active energy. But you see this active energy here. This is CH3. Yeah? Which is a carbon and hydrogen plasma. And if you use it, it will activate and stimulate you with energy. Because it's the E, which is the fire, which is the spirit energy, which is what keeps diminishes aging, yeah? Diminishes aging, yeah? And the other plasma forces that will be residing within this. So the lady that sings this, this lady here is about 60, isn't she? This lady there. This lady's about 60. If you call it a lady, you call it a lady if you call it a lady. Right? So they're telling you there, this was before this situation took place. If I would have done video when this situation now took place, I knew it was already going to take place and everything. I did it on the board anyway. This what's happening. It's called restriction. It's called restriction because there is an event taking place. Yeah, which I will show you on here, which will show that is now happening. All of the floods, the fires and everything else. And this is why a lot of people think, oh, but it's the government doing it. They are doing it, yes. And they have plasma technology that makes it rain, yes. But they are only mirroring and copying what is already happening. That is where the confusion is coming from. And many don't realise what is really happening on this plane now. And matter, her 22 voltage is diminishing the timeline of the dead. It is done. It's finished. And that is why she's telling you here. And this is the X on her eye that marks the spot. Yeah. And this the child here has a gas mask on. He's wearing a mask. Look, he's wearing a mask, and she's all in black. She's all in black. Look, and they're all like in fear, looking about look at them. They're all in fear, and they're all actually not just in fear. They're actually hypnotized as well. Apart from the singer, the one that points its finger, the one that wears the black dress with the X upon the eye. Yeah, upon the one eye. So she's letting you know that she's working with deep imperfection. But what she's telling you here, I will say it here. It's telling you this. Now everybody's coming to the future. Not everybody is learning from the past. Yeah? They are not learning anything. They are not listening to anything. Yeah? Because they are too hypnotized and distracted by the noise. Yeah? Right. So not everybody is learning from the past. Not everybody can come into the future. Yeah? Not everybody here is gonna last. Not everyone is coming to the future. Not everyone is coming from the past. Not everyone can come into the future. Not everyone here is gonna last. So not everybody here has been continually falling upon this wheel. Some are here just to complete. They are here for this event. That is why what their reason is for being here. It then goes on to say, I hope you know my life. I hope you know my life is gold. Right? I drip the ice. I see the signs. Just free your mind. Welcome to the future. It's a culture ride. Too much pain inside. It's an overdrive. Pain gain. The pain must be in order to be released in order for gain to take place. It's an overdrive. These are dark Kabbalists, right? It's an overdrive. You've been putting too much time trying to survive. See, so it is the fear of tomorrow that makes man so selfish, and he's constantly trying to survive, and he has too much pride. Yeah, too much pride he has in his material trinkets. Yeah, a day is coming when human pride will be ended and human arrogance destroyed, then the Lord alone will be exalted. The Lord alone will be exalted because of that. Yeah? Because when we look at our material things, yeah, when we look at things from the perspective from a more magical perspective, a metaphysical perspective, when we look at matter and we overindulge upon it, yeah, and you start to really look after it and anything else, yeah, it makes you become nasty because of it, because you now want to protect it, when really you're protecting something that really isn't really there. It is only something that is there to serve the whole. Yeah, it's only coming from something that is coming from another man's mind. This is what's happening. So they become over pride, over matter. Yeah, forgetting spirit, because there's no death involved. So they become too attached to this Luciferian agenda, which is when you become so attached to this a false light, because it's a light that was created by man, which is all your material trinkets, etc., which blind one, yeah. And the thing is, they wear out. These material things, they wear out. So what happens is, because man is stupid, yeah, because of this blinding, yeah, blindfold, he thinks that deep down, you see, they don't understand the subconscious workings of your being. The fact that you think you're going to die makes you worry about trying to survive. But you don't, it's not in your conscious brain, it's residing in your subconscious. But it's in the darkness, you never really go there. And this is why they have gods. You go all the way back to Egypt, there's a god called Aten. And Aten, you would only celebrate in the daylight. You would have the nighttime is seen as bad. Right. Yeah, and then the way that the gods would work, so Akhenaten changed his name from Amen. See, A-M, Amen. Amenhotep, right? And then what would happen is they would perceive that the gods, that the sun god Aten would adorn the kings and queens, and then the kings and queens would then pass it on to the people. Yeah, that's wrong. It's wrong. So this is how they put in themselves pride, their pride of their own being and their name, yeah, above the whole. And this is what happens here. We have to learn to see the divine will of all beings. That is how things work. So this is what she's saying here. Too much pain inside, it's an overdrive. You've been putting too much time trying to survive. Yeah? Instead of focusing on the bigger picture, which is the work that needs to be done. That work that's done raises up the collective whole of humanity. Yeah? Right? And it relinquishes the pain. Because if you look at it now, that is what is happening here. There is a drug called monkey dust. Yeah? And the people that take it will tell you that these beings here, they've fallen desperately because they're on drugs. They are stuck deeply within the depths of their animal soul, unfortunately, because of the collective whole. Yeah? And what happens is they've created this thing called monkey dust, right? Now it turns you into a zombie. There are things on here, I'm going to show other things on here. They have games, yeah, that they put it out before it's going to happen. And depending on how long you've been looking at this, you've been doing this, you can read the future. So I already knew that they would create something. They call it monkey dust anyway. And what it does, and because of the point we're in now, the field, the spheres, the music of these spheres has weakened, and it has allowed, and we knew this would happen as well, the same way as we knew that America would be the one to have to be taken down first because they have these guns, right? It's the same way, yeah, that there is this thinning of the veil, which means that people are becoming possessed by demons, right? And they use this drug called monkey dust. Go and look at it. Even the people in the UK, and they're falling all over the street, and these people, they're real zombies. The same thing from the film, you watch Resident Evil, these games that they set you to play, was a conditioning. They're going to see people, which is already happening now, that have totally lost their mind, lost everything. They're acting, they're not even human anymore, and they have superhuman strength. There was one guy who fell off, and he was standing on the top of a house with 1 foot on the top of the house, yeah? He falls from the roof of a 40-foot house, drops onto the car, gets up and he starts fighting the police. Yeah? Because it gives him superhuman strength of the wrong kind. Because they are being possessed by demons. Yeah? Because you're working with the wrong type of light. And this is what's being made to happen. And these unruly children will bring about this. They will bring about this. And they are encouraging what is going to take place, what is coming and what is taking place upon this earth right now. Yeah? Which we perceive and ascension, etc. Because of this right brain imbalance as well. We don't understand the way the light within is a fire conscious, is the fire of your conscience. That is the centering point here. That is the centering. And that is why this jack here, yeah, he has in his hand, he has in his hand here. The Jack of Hearts, he has this evergreen acacia in his hand for life and light. But he's facing away from the emblem of death here. Because at any point, his life can be taken. But he's looking at the heart of love. So it matters not to him. The work is more important than that. But you see, this is what this Madonna was trying to tell you here. Madonna, yeah? M-A, yeah? This is what she was trying to tell you here. Yeah? A-M-M-A, yeah? She's trying to tell you that, you see, you're too busy trying to survive instead of being able to recognise where you are and what this is. And then, you see, what happens is, he's knocking at the door like Christ says, you're knocking at the door. The clover here, this is the heat. The clover, the old mystics, they use the clover because it arrives at the peak of summer. The peak of summer is the peak of heat. The peak of heat is the peak of knowledge and light. We gain our knowledge of light at the peak of magnetism. And that is why he wears within his crown, the acacia leaf has now gone from his hand into his crown. Because he's now receiving the crowning of life, of immortal life. And he's now in the moment. Because the crab goes backwards and forwards. And that's why we, as the soul, when we realise that now is the eternal moment and that time is only a mortal concept, that is when we become set free. When we are no longer bound by what is happening in physicality. So then, she then goes on to say, yeah, right. Don't like the person in your class, so you let them die. And this is what is happening again, yeah? Because as these beings, they see another as separate from them. I don't like them. You've been taught to hate another or to not like another. And because of that, we fail to recognise other beings as our brothers and sisters. And because of that, we have been adulterating the matter of others. Yeah? Diminishing them instead of raising them up. Oh, this person, I don't like him, he thinks he's this, he thinks he's that. I don't like them because all of the divides that they've created. But what she's saying here is in reality, it doesn't just fall upon them. It's not just going to fall upon them. And that's why they say that, yeah? So it's the future where we come from it's the future where we come from, being stars. It's the future where we come from, being hard. It's the future where we come from, beat them all. It's the future where we come from, being boss. It's the future where you're going to pay the cost. It's the future where you're going to pay the cost. It's the future where you come from, being lost, yeah? It's the future, crucifixion on a cross, but you know that I'm a rise above it all, yeah? Because you see, what's happening is, the cross of matter, we have to hold our cross of matter up. If that is not being held up, then what happens is, we will become crucified upon a cross here. But you see, we are heading towards a 13th. And that is why, this is the 13th here. The 13th is a hidden constellation we're telling you about. But you see these beings, and it's not just this is spiritual beings, this is happening in spirit planes as well. This is constant. If you know what you're looking for, you'll see this constantly. So this one here, look, updated at 13 on the 1323. Right, so but before that, the 13th constellation is here is about sex. That 13th constellation there is here. This is it here. This is the 13th constellation, right. This is Ophiuchus. This is the serpent bearer. It is about sex, which is coming up right now. It's coming up right now. The next couple of months, it's here, right? And what happens is you can see corona there. The serpent's, yeah, his tongue flicks out right at the corona borealis there. That's what's happening. This is what's going to happen. And below here you have the Scorpio. See just sex here. Yeah, and you see he's holding the serpent here because this is the serpent bearer, and it is about, this sign is about sex, and that's why they put it here. Starry-eyed, would the 13th star sign make you a sex god? See, this is what they're doing, because they know that 13th, when because of this Saturn and Jupiter lockdown, it's going to set free this 13th constellation. So here you have horror plunge, boy 13, fighting, these are terrible, right? Fighting for his life after a plunge, 26, 6 and 8, Mom 31, charged with murder after 5 months old baby son was found, stabbed to death, terrible, Film star died, Ben Cross 72, this is the 9s. You're always going to see these 4s and 9s constantly. Trump's, I think his brother or his father died at 72 the other day. This is at 6:26, updated at 9/11. See here, we're coming up to 9/11 right now. And then here, look, this is constant. Police find remains of a man who he was 54. This is all now, right? It's just constant. Heartless mom 13, right? You'll just keep seeing it. Heartless mom, worst mom in the world, 13. The reason that they're showing this is because they're showing you what's happened, what they've managed to do. What they have managed to achieve is by stopping beings from doing this work upon this wheel. Because here, on the wheel, Aries, this is strategy. Strategy and soul power and the Christ principle and service. Here is concentration, it's the breasts, emotion, Christ principle and service. Here, this is so that's that polarity. These are all polarities of the soul. This one here at the diamond, which is self-judgment. Self-judgment and an unpleasant nature, because you're having to look at the lower carnal natures and learn how to rise above them. And this is why so many lifetimes have failed here, because we fall. It's a deliberate fall that takes place. And these polarities exist within nature, because the diamond here represents wealth, because all of nature has supremacy within it. This is why you will find a lion is the leader. The lion is the leader in nature. Then you've got the leader of the pack. Then you've got the biggest tree. This is how it works. There's always supremacy residing within nature. And what the soul has to learn to do is to govern its wealth. At the point where you will have a lifetime where you were a millionaire and you have all of matter. There's no getting around. That's why we look at math. Why are they rich people? Why are they poor people? Because it's supposed to be that way at the same time. But we are supposed to be aware of the different polarities of the soul. And then when one becomes master of the soul and he learns how to command his wealth as a multimillionaire, but learns how to give that wealth up. Because divinity, God will put you in positions where that happens. Where you can fail or pass that test. But without knowing, being born in ignorance, these soul polarities, they get trodden on. There's one other thing that I want to do, just speaking of that, because I've got it right here. One other thing that I want to do, because I've got it right here. So what actually happens is, I'll just bring that back up whilst I'm on this point here. When we fall into death, into the spade, this is a deliberate fall that has to take place in order to be reborn again. It's a deliberate fall. When that happens, spare me a second. When that takes place, there's this one here. When we fall into the spade, we fall. This is introspection. It's the knees, right. So it's looking at oneself to raise up and to access your spiritual nature, and it is about burying yourself in the pollution of the earth, right? But it's about falling into dense matter and facing it, right? Because as you fall, there is nothing wrong with falling. You fall into lust, but only the strongest souls can do this. They fall, right? but knowingly fall in order for Gnosis to learn from those mistakes. What happens when you fall into dense matter? These give you moments of self-realization, and I want to show that also here with this goat. So I wanted to just see how what we're saying with the goat. I showed previously how the goat falls, but I'm showing here about the minerals here. You see, the psychic world, the world of the soul, resides within the mineral kingdom. I want to show that here with the goat. This is the scapegoat. Yeah, the scapegoat. Yeah, is always falling. Look, see here.
Used to build this dam contains essential minerals that have been dissolved in water. The rock that was used to build this dam contains essential minerals that have been dissolved in water. Minerals rich in the calcium that these animals need to stay strong. And they'll scale a dam to get them.
In una situazione estrema, diciamo così, di ripidità, la possibilità di recare del sale è una tentazione fortissima.
Without these salts and minerals, their bones won't grow, their nervous systems and muscles can't function. Movement and coordination can falter.
Io ho abbastanza paura quando sono in situazioni molto ripide e guardo verso il basso, non sono di certo uno stambecco.
There's a strong bond between mother and kid, and the kid will follow her wherever she goes. The ibex eventually make it to the prize. Salt from the earth, dissolved in water, continues on its journey into their bodies. Where it's used in the nerves and muscles that control dexterous pincer-like hooves. Vital ingredients carried around by a simple molecule with remarkable properties.
So you see there, well then this one here now, so you see there, the spade, the jack, falls, Jack the lad, falls, is not raised, and he falls into the scapegoat, the goat of Capricorn. As you fall, we have that descent into dense matter, and you see they're hanging off the edge of a cliff in order to get the salts and the minerals, salt, ammoniac, salts and minerals, yeah, here, these are electrical forces. I guarantee those minerals and salts, highly alkaline, yeah, they improve the locomotive functions and the muscular electrical movements of all biological beings upon this physical plane. Therefore, this is why those salts and minerals that the soul generates from within, using the kidneys, can be then used in order to accelerate the physical performance of the physical being. This is how we use the elements of nature in order to accelerate ourselves and to create a more perfected internal state. But the falling, the riding of the goat, when you fall and the things that you do, as long as you get back up and you are able to introspect upon them and learn from those mistakes, this is when we're able to then raise the soul in order to become a more perfected being. Peace, love and centeredness. See you in the next one.